Hello everyone, it is Rachel here back again with 10 amazing design space hacks that every Cricut owner needs to know. If you guys do not know who I am or what I do, I'm a producer over at Makers Gonna Learn, your ultimate die cutting community. If you guys have a die cutting machine that works with SVG and PNG cut files, that could be a Cricut, a Brother, a Silhouette, anything like that, then you guys are missing out. Click the very first link in the description below to see what we offer, which just some of the things that we offer include over 3,000 digital cut files, over 300 fonts. We have a members only Facebook group. We have amazing printable guides. We have commercial licensing. We have e-courses. We have so much. Okay, if you want to level up your crafting today, Makers Gonna Learn is the best way to do it. Our entire goal is to inspire you guys and to educate you guys to know everything you can about your machine and the software so that you guys can get crafty with our thousands of cut files and fonts and be able to sell what you make using that commercial license and so much more. So click that link and become part of the family. Without further ado, guys, today we are, like I said, going to be going over 10 amazing hacks for design space that you will not want to miss. Now, these could be simple hacks that you guys might know or mind-blowing hacks that will change the way that you craft entirely. So let's head on in design space and I'll show you guys what we've got going today. Alright guys, so the very first hack I want to show you guys is how to remove grids from your canvas. So here we are at our canvas. If you go up to the top left corner where the word canvas shows and you go down a little bit, you should see your undo button. If you go down a little bit more, you want your mouse right in the corner in between the 0 and then the 0 on the bottom there. So where your mouse is at, you should have a 0 on the right and a 0 on the bottom. You should be right next to those zeros. Now guys, I know that my mouse does not show, so please bear with me as I'm trying to be as descriptive as possible as to where my mouse is. So when your mouse is there, you can click that little square twice and have a completely clear mat, or you can click it once and only have your large grids. So if I click it once, it takes away those small grids, and then if I click it again, you have a completely blank canvas. So again, if I click it, we have both of them, large grids, no grids. So that is how you can remove the grids from your mat. It's super cool. I have not seen this hack a lot, so we love to show you guys that as well. And another thing I do want to show you, this is one of our really cute files that we have at Makers Gonna Learn. It's of course for our amazing nurses, Scrub Life, and let's say that you wanted to put this on something and for whatever reason you wanted it to be rotated. So it's really hard to take that top rotate button and kind of rotate it yourself to be perfectly straight. You kind of have to really work at it and make sure the lines are straight, and most of the time it just doesn't end up being very straight. So I'm going to click my undo button. Now if I click that arrow so that I can rotate this while I'm hitting the shift key, so on my keyboard I have the shift key selected, I'm going to hold this down and start rotating it. Now you guys can see it's kind of like auto locking into place. So this is a great hack for anybody who has trouble rotating well. This is the best solution ever. So you don't have to guess at it. You don't have to worry about if it's straight or not. As long as you have shift pressed, you can just go ahead and auto lock it into place, and then you know that that is perfectly straight up and down. Or you can just keep going if you want it at an odd angle, and it's perfect. So that is a great hack that we have, is just holding down that shift key so that you guys can rotate in a better way. So that's that. And now guys, all we're going to do is size this down a little bit, and let's say that we want to make multiples of these. We want to cut out several. I have a couple of nurse friends, and let's just say I want to make one for all of them. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and click Make It. And it has it on 2 mats for us already because we do want those 2 colors. So this is definitely the easiest way to duplicate something, because let's just say you want it in design space, you're going to save it as a project, but you don't necessarily want to save how many that you're going to be cutting. You want to save the file, but you don't want to save 8 of the same file, So here right before you click continue, if you go up to the top left corner where it says prepare two mats, right below that you can see project copies. If you, let's just say I have 4 nurse friends. If I apply this, then you can see here we have now 4 project copies of each design, of course. So you can do this as many times as you want. This is just a very easy way to duplicate or cut more of what you're wanting to cut. So let's go ahead and make that down to 1 and I'll apply it. And another hack that we have that I want to show you guys is how to change your material size. So this is really important also for felt. So let's say you're working with felt, and a lot of felt that you buy, premium felts from like Benzie Designs for instance, don't have a ton of sizes that are like Cricut, like 12 by 12. So one of their most popular ones is 9 by 12 actually. So let's just say we have a bunch of 9 by 12. Let me actually make some more project copies in the hopes of making this. Okay, so let's just move this around here and act like we have, a 12 by 12 sheet here. So if we want to change our material setting from 12 by 12 to something else, all you're wanting to do is where you see where project copy is. If you go down, you can see your mat. If you go down a little bit more, you can see material size. This is right above the little mirror toggle here. So you see your material size, it is set to 12 by 12. You can select that and then select from all of these different options in the drop down menu. Let's say I'm working with 9 by 12. I'm going to click 9 by 12 and it's going to automatically shift my designs over to be able to fit on that material size. So a lot of the times what we were doing is selecting 12 by 12 and then just knowing that we did not have 12 by 12 if we were working with something like felt, and we would see here that this is not going to work. So you would have to kind of move this down and move this down and move these over, etc. But we don't have to do that when you do have this material size setting. So click that drop down and select the exact material that you have. If you're using chipboard can only be 11 by 11. That's all the dimensions that they make. So we can select that to make sure that your design is going to fit well on your material size. So we do love that. Now, I did get a little ahead of myself, guys, so I do want to back it up a little bit. I hope I don't confuse all of you. All we're going to do is click that cancel button, and I'm going to show you another hack in here in Design Space. And this one is probably one of the Design Space hacks that we use most here at Makers Gonna Learn, and it is to add a basic shape in Design Space that is the exact dimensions as the product or project that you're applying your design to. So to say it simply, if you have a 9 by 12 frame that you're wanting to put this scrub life on, grab a square in Design Space and make the dimensions 9 by 12. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to grab a shape, square, then you're going to go up to the top and unlock that. Now you can unlock it like that, or you can go down to the bottom left of your square and unlock it that way. We're going to do a width of 12 and a height of 9. Let's bring that in here. And we're just going to change that to, I don't know, let's just do a dark gray, something like that. So once you have basically your frame in Design Space, it makes it so much easier for you guys to be able to size your design. So instead of taking a measuring tape and measuring your frame over and over, you can add your frame directly into Design Space and then be able to bring this in and size it accordingly. Now, if this happens to you guys, this isn't a hack, this is just a bonus little tip here. If you're trying to drag something on top of another layer and it won't allow you to, with the layer underneath selected, you can go up to Arrange, which is on your top panel next to Flip and Align. So it's in the middle of Flip and Align. You can click that Arrange and click Send to Front, and then there you have it. Now, it is important to note that if you do this method, make sure if you are using, like we said, a frame, that you are only putting in Design Space the dimensions of what you can apply onto. So again, I know it sounds complicated, but when you have a frame, you have the backing piece to a frame, and then you have the frame itself. Like the, let's say, 2-inch wood that comes up around your frame. You can't necessarily place vinyl that far on the edges. So measure inside your frame, measure the material, or excuse me, measure like the dimensions of what you can place your material on, not exactly the frame itself, unless it's just like one smooth flat piece of wood. In that case, of course, you can place vinyl on the whole thing. So now it makes it so much easier to just size this up to where you think it'll fit well, and just make it as big as you want to, and you know, paying attention to where your frame is and if you've sized it according to that. So if you have these shapes in Design Space, it's really like a foolproof method. We say measure twice, cut once, measure again, and that's because there's nothing worse than wasting material, and it's so easy to waste material when you are sizing it physically and then going in Design Space and trying to size it again. It's just a lot easier to have that in Design Space on your canvas so you guys can visually see it. I think a lot of crafters are visual learners like myself, and I really benefit from having visuals like this to help me size things. We use this all the time, guys. Another hack I want to show you guys is a trick to duplicate and hide before you weld a layer here. So I'm just going to type out hello, and then I'm going to go up here and choose one of our amazing fonts for Makers Gonna Learn. I'm going to choose Ballin'. So if you click that, we have Ballin' here, hello. And you guys know whenever you use a font like this, you always have to kern it. So this is not what we want it to look like. So there are several ways you can do this. You can choose to go up to your top bar here and click letter space and bring those letter spaces down, which this of course works very, very well. Or if I don't want to do that, I can ungroup and then manually do it just like that. So either way you want to do it. But here in the layers panel, you can see that all of these letters are its own layer. Well, we don't necessarily want that. So for like designing this, it's really great to go ahead and group it when you're in Design Space. If you're making especially a quote and you're going to try and see if you like all of these together and you know the lines match up and everything like that. However, when you're ready to go click bake it, you guys know you have to weld. If you don't know the difference between slice, weld, attach, if you don't know flatten and contour and all that, that is more back to the basics. So I will go ahead and link a video in the description below all about intro to Design Space for basics, the differences between those things. So I'm not going to go over those in this video today, but you know that you have to weld a font that you have kerned. So before you do that, just in case you ever either make this again or you want to personalize it, so like if I said hello Rachel or something, and I might want to make this again and say hello Courtney or something like that, the best thing for you guys to do is to duplicate and hide before you weld. That way you always have basically an insurance policy on that design you created, especially if it has taken you a long time to create. If you have a big long quote, then it's really important to do this step. So all we're going to do is duplicate that layer. Here you go, and you can see they're grouped. Now you can attach them. That's fine if you want to attach them. It doesn't really matter. You do have to weld either way whenever you press make it. So we have one duplicated and attached, and we are just going to click to hide that. So there goes that layer, it's hidden. And now all we're working with is this layer that we can go ahead and weld. And now you can see in the layers panel, it has welded into one singular layer. That's what we want. And then now if we go and we make that and we're like, well, I want to change something or I want to add something to that, you can always come back in here in Design Space and unhide that layer and be able to work with this again. Now, the important thing to know whenever you've hidden a layer after you have attached it together before you welded, you want to be able to find this again. You don't want to go through the trouble of duplicating and hiding this if you're just going to erase your project or not save your project. So we do get a lot of questions on how to save and erase your projects in Design Space. I will show you how to do both today at separate times. So right now I will show you how to save. So again, this one is attached. I'm just gonna hide it. And then this is the hello that I wanna cut. Okay, we know that this one is hidden in the layers, perfect for us if we wanna use that in the future. So now I'm just gonna go up to the top right side of the screen next to make it. On the left, you can see explore, and then one more to the left, you can see the button save. It should be flashing green here as I put my mouse over it. So go ahead and click save. And you can save it as public, which I never do, and then you can just type out hello. So I'm gonna do it all lowercase just like it says hello. So I usually will do it like this, or I will date them, so I'll do hello and then write the date or something like that, and you can just click save. Now, if you ever wanted to make any changes to this project, which this is probably why I erase projects the most, is because let's just say that I've moved that around, I've added this in a layer, I've added another name. So if I wanted to go in here and add Rachel here, I could do that, and you know, what have you. And then if you are like past a certain point and you want to keep this project as well, you can click save, and then instead of clicking save, there's also a little option that says save as. So you can go ahead and click that, and it knows you've saved this as hello, and now it's going to save it as hello-1, meaning it's like an updated version of what you have saved. You still have your other project saved, but you can save it again as you create it. I do recommend this if you're doing something gigantic that's going to take you a lot of time to do, maybe something very detailed with fonts and things like that. I would highly recommend continuing to save every few minutes, and then it's as simple as just erasing those later. It takes 2 seconds. So just to put it in perspective, if you have spent, let's just say 2 hours creating something for a friend or something like that. For instance, this is what happened to me, guys. I'll just use my own sad story. I was creating a very detailed graduation cap design for my friend who is a nurse, Madison, and it had a Bible verse on it, it had a stethoscope on it, a lot of detail that I had to bring in with fonts and things like that. And about halfway through, my laptop freaked out. I say freaked out because it didn't quite shut off. We didn't quite lose internet. It was just a glitch, guys, and I lost it all. I had saved it up to a point, but I had not been saving as well as I should have. And that just depends on the progress you make. So you don't want to save it every 5 minutes if you've only added 2 or 3 letters, if that makes sense. But once you make enough progress, you want to think, okay, I've made a ton of progress. We are not perfect. Technology is not perfect. Anything could happen. I'm going to go ahead and save my project. There's nothing wrong with that. So you can go ahead and save that as hello-1, and then it'll have all that saved for you. So we definitely love doing that just in case, especially if you're making, like I said, a really detailed project. So now we're just going to go ahead and click make it just like we did before, and we did go over project copies and material size, so that is awesome, guys. You guys are getting all the hacks today. We're just going to go ahead and click continue. And the next hack, guys, is favoriting your materials. So as you can see, we have lots of materials here under our little favorites tab, but you might not have any favorites, in which case you would only see these popular ones. But if you go over here to favorites, you can see what we use the most. So how you favorite a material is you can go up to browse all materials, and let's just type in cardstock. And you can see right here, third down, you can see this little star here. This is one of our favorites. That's what that means. So to favorite something, all you have to do is go down to it. So we just unfavorited heavy cardstock here. So you see no more stars. We're just going to go down to it. And then while we're here, you can see on the right side of the highlighted little line here that there is a star outline. If you click that star outline and then you go out, you can see heavy cardstock right there. So again, you just browse materials. Let's go to vinyl. Here is chalkboard vinyl. Let me go ahead and unfavorite that, and then you can see the favorites. You can always unfavorite them just like I do. Let's say we're also using chalkboard vinyl, so if I don't click directly on the star and I just click in the column itself, you can see over on the left side a little green check mark. That means this is checked as the material we're going to be using to cut. And then if I select that and I think, well guys, I use chalkboard vinyl a lot, well, you can go over to that right hand side and click that star, and then over here you will see it. So see, it's as easy as that, guys. I mean, it's really foolproof, really easy to do. So let's say we're using heavy cardstock today. When you click heavy cardstock, that number 1 will go ahead and slide up, and you will see number 2 highlighted, and it will say load tools and materials. Well, guys, we don't want to skip over this amazing drop down menu that says pressure. So up there, still at number 1, after you select your material, pressure will pop up. This is a way for you guys to get more life out of your blade and to cut more cut better, basically. Just cut more precise, cut better. So let's say, for instance, you have a brand spanking new blade. You pop it in your fine point housing, you put it in there in your machine, and you're ready to cut. Well, if you're wanting to cut something like vinyl or iron-on with a brand new fresh blade, it could very easily cut through that backing or that transfer sheet, and we don't want that. So that's when you would go ahead and click less pressure. That would mean that your brand new blade is going to cut a little less deep, so that you will have more success with that. Now, after a couple of weeks or a couple of days, depending on how much you use your machine, you will notice that it's starting not to cut as well. You can go ahead now and leave that on default pressure. The pressure is always set on default no matter what. So if you've never heard of this tip or anything, it's not like you're doing anything wrong because it's always set to default. You can just go in there and set it to more or less. So it's on default now. Now, again, for a couple more weeks or hopefully months, it will cut beautifully for you guys. Then when you see it start not to cut as well, just like you did on less pressure with that fresh blade, you can go here on that toggle and click more pressure up at the top. And what that'll do, of course, it's probably self-explanatory, it'll give that blade just a little bit more pressure. It'll just push it down a hair more to be able to extend the life of that otherwise dull blade. So that will also help you get a couple more weeks use out of that blade there. And okay, another thing I do want to mention is after number 2, so it says load tools and materials. So I'm just going to load an empty mat into my Explorer, and then I want you guys to look at number 2. Watch what happens on the screen. Okay, I hope you guys seen that. Much like number 1, when you select your material, number 2 will slide on up and number 3 will be highlighted. And I'm just going to tell you guys, I never look at this. I always load my material and then click that flashing Cricut button. But I urge you guys to look at the screen, and after you load it in, number 3, you will be able to see this toggle switch fast mode. Now, this fast mode switch is really handy for certain projects and not handy at all for others. I don't love fast mode. Tanner does love fast mode. So what I don't love about it is I feel like, in my mind, if Cricut and their machines were built to go as fast mode, then why isn't it like that all the time? I feel like it might cut corners as it's cutting or something like that. Well, you know, cut corners. Oh goodness, guys, that's a bad joke. But anyways, I feel like it might not cut as well as it should or anything like that. Now, there's no proof that says that about the cutting ability. All I know is that when it does cut a bit faster with fast mode, it could more easily mess up a project. Like if you're using very thin cardstock or vellum or tissue paper or something like that you're trying to cut, I would not recommend fast mode. That or any project that is heavily detailed, like a tile file or a small quote with fonts that you guys have kerned together with the scripty font for Makers Gonna Learn, something like that. You don't want to use fast mode on. You just want the Cricut to go nice and easy and make sure it cuts it out well. But if you're doing like a large sign project out of vinyl, or you're making a big heart out of iron-on for a t-shirt, fast mode will work no problem. And now, guys, I want to show you how to erase your projects. I've showed you how to save them, and now I want to show you how to erase them. So if we just go back to our canvas here, and we go to my project. So up there, top right, you can see Make It, Over, Explore, Over, Save, Over, My Projects. Go ahead and click My Projects here, and you can see a bunch of them here that we have done for Makers Gonna Learn. There's just so many projects. So a lot of the times we will do multiple saves here. So I'm trying to find a really, really good one here. You can see we have several here for the Spring Summit. Water slide, water slide, water slide, water slide, water slide. There's more up here at the top. There's just so much that we've got here. And as you can see, we've learned our lesson from not saving as we go, because technology can easily fail us at any time, and we want to make sure that we have most of our work saved. So here, I hope you guys can see this. So I'm going to try and go around so it's flashing a bit. This one down here that says Spring Summit Water Slide all the way to the right. If we just go down to the bottom and we click those three little dots, you can see save for offline, delete, and edit. And what we're going to do is we're just going to delete it. And it'll say, are you sure you want to delete this project? This action cannot be undone, which is good, because it would be terrible if you accidentally click delete and didn't mean to. So Cricut makes you jump through a couple extra hoops just to make sure you're sure about this. Yes, okay. Then that kind of disappears and it just kind of moves on there. Again, you can click this one. We're going to do another water slide. Delete. Yes, I do want to delete. And again, another one swaps up. Delete. Are you sure? Yes, I want to delete. Are you sure? Yep. So just like that. It's just that easy to delete projects. We probably need to go through here, guys, and delete a lot of projects, but we haven't yet. But that does it, guys, for those amazing hacks for Design Space that every Cricut owner needs to know. What did you guys think of these amazing hacks? I absolutely loved showing them to you guys. If you have a favorite, definitely leave that in the comment down below and let me know if you have heard of some of these or all of these already. We do touch on some of these in live streams and other videos, but we didn't have a video compiled of all of them. We do have another Cricut hack video for Design Space, but we have since learned some new amazing Design Space hacks, and we wanted to incorporate that into this video as well. So I hope that you all enjoyed these, and as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Leave us a comment down below, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell to get notified when we send out amazing videos just like this one. Again, guys, if you haven't already checked out Maker is Gonna Learn, click the very first link in the description below to learn how you can become part of our amazing die cutting community. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.